Everybody, welcome to Bakumoto. Today we're going to try to turn the templates that I made out of cardboard into actual metal side covers. Check it out. Alright, so for the job we're going to need a table grinder, a normal handheld grinder. I have a piece of 22 gauge steel, my templates, some sandpaper and some screws, and a round metal file, and of course this door trim that I got to cover up the edges once we have the final product. So let's start measuring out the templates and get a rough cutout for them and see how it goes. Okay, so I have my templates traced out. Looks like I'm going to be needing about 2/3 of this sheet of metal. I think it's 24 by 48. So let's cut out the individual pieces and start grinding them down to the shapes that we need. Alright, we have some progress. I drilled the back hole and put the bolt in to hold it in place, just so I can see how the rest of it is marking up. It seems like on this side we're going to be just right in terms of this length. The curve I'm going to leave to grind down with the table grinder, and the top we're going to bend after we cut off this piece. So let's just keep cutting and then we'll shape up the edges and get it to fit a bit better. Okay, here's the piece as it looks like right now. I drilled the other hole so that it matches up with the hole in the little mounting bracket on the frame. It seems like it will benefit from a little bit of a bend in the middle. So it's a little bit of a more of an oval. And then we need to bend the top pieces in under the seat. So first I'm going to shape the curve at the bottom. And then we're going to start bending the top, and then we're gonna fix up all the edges, and this piece will be done. Alright, so we got the shape going over here. We got a little bit of a bend. I need to bend it more to make it fit under here, and I need to make the second bend to tuck it in nicely. So, progress. Alright, got the fold nice. Everything's nicely tucked. Just need to I'll weld a nut on the other hole so I can put the bolt. And let's shape the other piece, which is this guy right here. We need to shape it, cut it, bend it, and hopefully we can weld it. I do have concerns about this being 22 gauge steel, being kind of thin. So my MIG welder might burn right through it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll do some practice welding on some of the scrap metal I have to get things configured right, and we'll go from there. Alright, so let's cut this piece to shape. Okay, so I played around with the welder and some of the scraps just to see how it welds. If I tried to do just a direct connection like so, I mean, mind you, I hadn't configured it yet properly. It does seem to burn right through. It does do a little bit better if I double up the steel. As you can see here, it didn't go all the way through, which is great. However, the heat is distorting the metal quite a bit. So I'm thinking for the welds, I'll probably have to double or triple the steel sheets there, and just tack them and then try to do a weld and buff it out afterwards, just so we don't burn right through it. So let's do that for now. Okay, here's my attempt at the first weld. Doesn't look the greatest, but it did weld it, and it didn't go too much through. So I'm just going to grind it down, even it out, see how that looks. If it breaks off, not that it matters, it's not really a structural piece, but let's see what happens. Alright, so after a little bit of welding, a little bit of grinding, I managed to weld it in a good enough way, I guess. And that's how it's going to be. It's going to tuck in nicely. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this gap here. I might just put the rubber stuff there. Or maybe I'll try to weld a piece. It's going to be hard to grind it out, but whatever. It might actually be nicer too. Yeah, so let's try to weld a piece there. And then we're going to trim off these bits on the ends so that it's actually one nice shape. This side is more or less done. Okay, so after welding, grinding down things, shaping them a little bit more, this is kind of the final shape we're working with in terms of how the seat fits with it. It'll be something like this. I mean, once it's bolted in place, it obviously won't move as much. Like this will fit under there properly. Or we'll muscle it too. And all I need to do now is paint it and put the trim. So let's cut the trim to shape and then ready for paint. And with the car trim, that's how it looks. We have a nice rubbery edge. The seat, well, like I need to tighten everything down so that I can wedge everything in place. And we're ready for paint. Alright, and with the screws in place, this is essentially what the final product here will look like. Just gotta paint it. Alright, first coat of paint for the left side cover is on. In about 2 hours we're gonna put another coat on and put the trim back on, and it's ready to go on the bike. Alright, we have the other side shaped and the nut welded to the frame so I can actually screw it in. I do need to shorten this bolt because I think it's too long and potentially we're going to get some movement there. And now we just need to weld this piece on top. It seems like this is kind of weird because this doesn't cover the same space. It should have been like that. So here we have a little bit of a difference. So maybe what I need to do is cut this like so I can weld that piece, and then we're going to need an extra piece down there. Okay, let's mark this up and cut it accordingly. Alright, getting better at the welding thing. I mean, given that this welder isn't actually meant to weld sheet metal this thin, this is actually not bad. I gotta figure out the little piece that I need to make for there, and so let's shave this down and make another piece. Alright, right side is done as well. My abysmal welding job was very difficult to grind down, and I kept grinding too much, and the steel was way too thin to be welded with the MIG welder, and so on and so forth. Either way, finally happy with whatever came out of it. In terms of how it will look, the idea is that it will be tucked under the seat, so I'll have to figure out how to squeeze that in there, but that's going to be the cover. So let's get this guy painted as well, and what's left is tomorrow just mount everything on. Alright, after paint, here is our final product. You can still see my kind of terrible weld slash grind jobs, especially on the left one, but, or rather this is the right one. But whatever, I think this is good enough for me. So let's go put them on the bike and wrap this video up. Okay, and here we go with the covers on. I think it looks clean enough. I mean, the welds are not the greatest, but whatever, it does the job. It covers the side. Looks nice and sleek. On this side, it's a little bit different. Again, covers up nicely. So we wouldn't be seeing all the electronics and whatnot. There are still these gaps here, but whatever. I think that's good enough. So, yep, now I just need to clean it up and get it ready for safety. Alright guys, that was it for this episode. Side covers are finished and on. Next we're going to take the bike for safety, and we should be good to get it legal and on the road. So this series is almost done. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications when new series and videos become available. I have some pretty cool ideas coming up soon. Make sure to check me out on Instagram at balkanmoto2018 and check out my website balkanmoto.com. Thanks for watching.